Hello, this is Sue Latour, and I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on how to create a Google form with images. Google Form is a free tool on Google that can be used to create surveys, forms, and quizzes. You can share the forms with others and allow them to complete the forms online. You can collect all the responses in a spreadsheet or display them in a chart or a graph. This is very useful when doing formative and diagnostic assessments. The purpose of my Google form will be to assess student understanding of linear relations for grade 9 applied and academic math. I will have 4 to 5 questions, or in this case, I'll just show you with 3 questions how to do that. One of the tools I use to get the images onto my Google form is the snipping tool or the screen capture tool. So first, before I begin creating the Google form, I have to select my questions. I go on to the EQAO website and I find a bank of questions from past years. I've decided to pick these questions with the table of values, the graphs, and then there's another one with table of values. All of these questions are asking about linear relations and direct and partial variation. So before I can create my Google form, I need to upload my images to my Google Drive. So to get the images, I have a snipping tool that I use from my computer. The snipping tool allows me to crop the image one at a time and save it. So that's question 1. I continue with question 2 in the same way. EQA question 2 with the graphs. Save it as a different file name, under a different file name. And question number 3. There are more than, I have more than 3 questions, but I will just demonstrate with 3 for now. Again, the snipping tool captures a new image, save it under a different name, and I'm ready to go. So once I have my images ready, I need to upload these images to my Google Drive and better to have it into its own folder. So I go on to Google Drive. This is my Google Drive. I will create a new folder for the images that I want to use for my Google form. So it's titled EQAO Linear Relations. Create. Once I'm in my once I'm in the folder, I will now upload the files that I just created, or the images, the files of the images. So upload files, find my files on my desktop that I just uploaded it to. There's question 1, 2, and 3. I will open. So now the images are being uploaded onto the Google folder. You have to remember to also share this folder so that we can use it for so that others can view it. So I'm going to click on the folder, share, and I would like to share it with anyone with a link. So I'll click on more. I can see there's anyone with a link. Save. And done. Also in the same folder, while I'm still in the EQAO Linear Relations folder, I will start to create my Google form. So in order to do that, I need to click on New in the top left corner. Scroll down, and you'll see there's the options to do Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. I'm interested in doing a Google form, so I have to look at more, and the pop-up menu for Google Forms appear, and this is what I want. Do I wish to create in a shared folder? Yes. Now that I'm in my Google Form page, I can edit the color. I can make it blue because I like that color. I can view it, but right now there's not much to see, so I'll wait till I'm done creating. And then there's other settings that just says, do I want my respondents to submit another response? Um, who's allowed to see it, and the progress. I don't really do anything there. And the send is when I'm ready to get the link so I can send it to my students. So the title of my Google form is EQAO Linear Relations. That's the title of the form. If I want the title of the file to be the same, I just go to the top left corner and click on the untitled form, and now it's the same title. Remember that all changes are saved in the drive, so you don't need to do any saving along the way. The first question that I will ask is to get their name, student's name. So question number 1, or the first task, is to ask for the student's name. And since this is a text answer, I have to click on the options, and you'll see that there's short answers. There's a paragraph answer, multiple choice, checkbox, drop down, scales, and others. I am interested in seeing a short answer for that question, and I do require that this question gets answered before they move on to the next. To simplify my steps, I will just click on duplicate and change first name to last name, and you'll see that short answer is already there, required is already there, so I've already saved myself a few seconds here and there. When I'm ready to insert my questions, you'll see over to the right hand side there's a symbol for adding a question, adding a title and description, adding an image, and this will be what I will use to insert the images that I saved to my Google Drive, or adding a video. This is good for if you have videos for the students to watch before answering the questions or commenting on the situation. And then there's an adding the section, which I don't really often use for the math Google Forms that I use. So I'm ready to add a question. Now, if you remember, the questions, the images that I picked have questions already numbered. So I'm just going to reiterate that number 1, and ask them to read the question, read the following question, and select the best answer. The answers that I want them to give will be in the form of a multiple choice answer. So I have to give them the options to select A, B, C, or D, and it is multiple choice. And I do want this question answered. They're not allowed to skip it or pass it, or skip it or leave it blank. So now question number 1's ready. I will insert the image later. I've decided to do all the skeleton of my Google form first, and then insert the images together all at once. So question number 2, instead of going to add a question, I want it in the same format as question number 1. So I'm going to duplicate 1 and change the question number to 2, duplicate again, and change the question number to 3. This saves me some typing and setting up the question. So now I'm ready to upload my images. If you want to look at it right now, go to preview. You'll see the Google form in this form, my first name, and you'll see the asterisk over here shows that it must be answered before you move on to the next question. Last name, read the following question and select the best answer, numbers 1, 2, and 3, and then submit. This button is only, this is for the students to click when they're ready to answer the question, or when they're ready to submit their answers. So this is not ready yet because I haven't inserted my images of the questions that I picked. So to do that, I need to go to the question number 1, say add a image. I'll click on add an image, which is over to the right. Now I can upload the image for other types of questions if I wanted them to look at a picture. I can take a snapshot. I can attach a URL link. I can go to my albums, or I can go to my Google Drive. And since I've already uploaded the images to my Google Drive and it's already to be shared, I click on Google Drive, and I had already saved it to EQA or linear questions, and there it is. Just have to remember where my folders are. There's question 1, That's question 2 and question 3. These questions were uploaded just earlier with my snipping tool. So question number 1, select. At this point, Google Form will insert that question underneath the blank question. I will repeat or do the same thing for question number 2, insert image, and select question number 2. Question number 3, insert image, question number 3, select, and now I have my Google form completed with the 3 questions I selected and their attached image. So here's the preview of the Google form. Title, first name, last name, question 1 with the image, question 2, question 3, and done. Now, if I'm interested in giving the students an email of their results, then I would ask them for to sign in to their Google form. But in this case, sometimes I'm just interested in getting the results and sharing the results in a summary. So I'm ready to share this. So I click on send on the top right, and I can send it as an email or as a link. Now this is a long link to share with the students, so instead I may just ask for the shortened URL link, and this can be copied and pasted into a I can just write it on the blackboard for the students to use their smartphones or their iPads, or I can attach it to my Google Calendar for easy access. So my Google form is ready to be answered. Now, to get the responses, right now there are no responses to look at since I just created this Google form. To get the responses, I actually have to go back to my Google Drive, and I'll show you what a summary of marks look like, or summary of results looks like. So go back to my Google form, or my Google Drive, I mean, and you'll see on my list that there are some activities that I've done earlier that says COW number 2 and COW number 1. These are contest of the week questions that I give to my my grade 9 class, my grade 9 Enrich class. I would ask them to grab their iPads and or smartphones and go to the link on my calendar. And when they do, they answered 3 to 4 questions on math contest questions that I pre-selected. Here's the spreadsheet that shows the students' name, their timestamp, students' names, and the answers that they gave to the 4 multiple choice questions. I do find it much easier to give multiple choice questions or true false or checklists type problems when dealing with math for a quick access or a quick assessment. So now this is not a user-friendly way of looking at it, so I would like to see the summary. So I click on form and now I see show summary of results. And further down, you get to see the pie chart that shows which is the most popular answer, which is the least popular answer. And in this way, I can see if the students really truly understand the question. So here's the question. It says that 23 of the total, we have 32 students who answered this. I'm sorry, 31 students. So out of the 31 students, 23 answered E. In this case, there was a close result between A and B. This indicates to me that I need to take up this question because a lot of students are confused, and there's only one right answer to a multiple choice question. And number 3, there was another one, 4 and 4. So I sometimes will put this up on my smartboard and we discuss the results, and I talk about what the most common errors are and why, and we increase. I try to increase full understanding of the problem by doing that. So I really find that Google Form is very useful for formative assessments and quick results, quick feedback. So there you have it. We created a Google form of EQAO linear relations and inserted the images that we want on the Google form. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful.